Hey, how's it going everyone? We're here today with Orochimaru Seeker of Immortality. This is the latest S.H.Figuarts release for the Naruto line. And yeah, you know, pretty excited. Before in the previous line we did have Jiraiya, but we didn't get Orochimaru or Tsunade, so I'm really happy that we finally have him here. The box is looking beautiful with that real calligraphy style finish around the figure, which is really cool. So yeah, basically let's just jump straight into it. On the back we have a nice selection of images showcasing what he comes with. The sword, the snake arm, the tongue poking out to match with Tail Pai from the Dragon Ball line, which is awesome. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to get a closer look at this. So let's pop him out of a box and we'll check out all the accessories that he does come with, and then we'll jump into the usual articulation, check out the faces in closer detail and all that good stuff. So we have Orochimaru in the center here. He has the rope tied around him already with a neutral face, and then down the right here we do have the kind of creepy mouth open smile, the full on tongue sticking out, which is amazing, along with the kind of bit more of an angry mouth open look. And then we also have three, or actually more than that, what's that, 5 additional pairs of hands. Flat, the jutsu symbol, one's for holding his sword, Kusanagi, which is behind. We'll get a bit of a close look at that soon. Then we've got a bit more of the normal martial arts gripping hands, a bit more of a looser look there. Along with the folded arms above, and then the amazing snake arm, which will attach to, I think we can actually put on either left or right, which is awesome. And then we have the cursed seal, when it just awakens on Sasuke, which will match beautifully with the Kid Sasuke release from earlier this year. So we'll get a close look at that as well in a moment. So yeah, let's pop them out of the packaging and we can check out the overall finish. Okay, so we have Orochimaru here up on the turntable, swing around and you'll see those colours straight away. That lovely subtle purple, which is a little bit more on the pastel side. That real sickly white colour that Orochimaru is infamous for, I guess. Then we have the nice kind of darker grey or charcoal colour for the above inner top. The lighter grey for the pants. And then the boots kind of matching well with the upper inner clothing that he has. His outside robe has a nice beige colour to it as well. I feel like so far this is matching up pretty well to what we see in the actual series, which is great. And then the colouring from what I can see so far from the face, hands, match up pretty well. The colouring on the toes a little bit darker. It seems like that is originally moulded in the dark grey plastic and then painted over top. So it's a little bit darker compared to the hands and probably a face plate which were just moulded straight in the lighter plastic colour. However, it isn't too noticeable in terms of a difference, especially since they're quite far away. As he swings around, we can also see the high detail for the cloth. The high detail for the rope, especially when you look on the top, it looks like it's full of the bristles there, which is really cool to see. And yeah, this is, well, we'll see in a moment, but it is on little wee pegs as well, which is great. The hair as well looks pretty nice. It is pretty straightforward and simple. You can kind of see the seams behind where there is the joint. But from the front it does look really nice. From the back, not as nice as some other figures from what I can see so far. But again, it isn't too bad. It's very reminiscent of, I think, the recent Chainsaw Man power figure, or the older Yamcha releases with that extra peg in the back. The seam for the hair actually blends in pretty well as well, since we do have those vertical lines already sculpted in there, which is really nice to see. So yeah, let's pop them off the turntable and we can jump in and check out the articulation. So starting with the head articulation, moving forward is a little bit more limited due to the bang, so they will kind of get in the way and it may push the front piece of the hair off a little bit. But the back here is on a peg as well, which will come up, which is nice. And then you can tilt the head back and look up, for about 10 mil or so. But everything will swivel around beautifully. And we do get some nice head tilting going on, which I think is a bit more important for Orochimaru. Now coming into the shoulder joint here, everything feels really nice and smooth. You can definitely lift up and around without any issues. And then you just have to get the arm into the right angle to be able to push it all the way forward into that curvature that is molded into the chest part there. So again, that part is very nice and everything does feel pretty good. Maybe a little bit more motion forward could be quite nice, but once we do get these twisted around, they do go forward without too much issue, but they don't do any crossover. A little bit of a shame there. Obviously if you twist these arms around, which they have a little bit, you know, lower bicep swivel, and you can kind of bend the elbows in a little bit to get a little bit more motion. But overall, compared to some other figures from recent releases, a little bit more limited in that forward motion. Now moving around to the rope, both of these are on a little bit peg on each side, and we can pop it off. So on the right hand side it's just on the back there, and on the left hand side, if we kind of pop this off, we have the ball peg there. So a little bit different depending on which side you're looking at, but these will move up and down a little bit. So I'll leave these off for now just so we can get a closer look at the actual torso articulation. So now coming into that mid-torso region, going forward, as we can see here, is really nice. And then again for going back, he has a decent range of motion there from both the lower ab and the upper chest area. If we move the hair out of the way, you can probably get back a little bit further as well. So it's a little bit more fiddly when you do have the rope parts on. But they definitely, since they are on their own pair, they will get out of the way as well, which is nice. This is a very similar design to that of the first Naruto release from the revived line. You know, left and right swivel is really nice as well. So far the upper articulation on this release is actually pretty decent. But before we jump into the lower range, let's check out the elbow quickly. And yeah, you know, overall pretty nice. And as we saw before, we do have that bicep swivel as well, which is hidden just underneath the upper part of his clothing there. Now these will pop off, so we can switch out to the snakes a little bit later. But for now, we can check out the wrist peg, which is all pretty standard. So yeah, now coming down to the lower half, these the front and back flaps for his upper clothing, super soft and flexible. It's very similar to that of the Ghetto figure from Jujutsu Kaisen if you have it. Now the under area for Orochimaru, if I lift this up, the design here, if you've seen the Squid Game figures, it's very similar in the way that they move, but they give really good articulation. As we can see here, you can easily do the splits, which is great. And then for the forward motion, again, really nice. And then for back, yeah, again, we do get hindered by those butt flaps, which is a little bit of a shame. I would really love to see a redesign for this in the near future. The upper leg itself does have the swivel as well, which is good, and then the knee joint is very nice. We do have a nice range of motion there. Now the lower part of his pants is a little bit more baggy, so it does get hindered ever so slightly, but the range is very acceptable, especially with the double joint there. Now the shin itself has the subtle you know, swivel motion going on there, which is similar to that of Kakashi and Naruto as well. And then again for the ankle motion, we have the peg there, and then for the neuro design for the ankles, which are really nice. So a great range of motion all around in the lower area of this figure. You know, and then we have the usual toe tip point of articulation as well. So jumping over to the faces now, this is the base one on him, which is that subtle smirk, which is really nice, but a little bit hard to see behind the bangs. So for this figure, I will show the face plates without the front hair on, just so we can see the printing in closer detail. And yeah, this one here with all the lines above the eyes with the purple and the yellow in the center of the eyes and the eyelash as well, everything is crisp and clean and looks really nice. And yeah, as we can see, to change the faceplates, it's really easy. Pop the bangs off, and then we can get access to the faceplate, which should just slot right off. And then once we have a second faceplate, we can just slot it in, and then we can slot the bangs on over top. So with the hair on, it looks really nice. We get that creepy smile coming through underneath, which is great. And for a close look at the overall finish, we can see again the same crisp printing and lines for the face. Everything looks really nice, and we do have a clean separation of color between the inner mouth and teeth, and then the outside as well, along with the sculpting there. You know, it definitely does capture the light well. Yeah, it gives some nice shadows and highlights there to really bring it to life. So the third face here is definitely my favorite, and that is the full-on tongue sticking out one. And you know, when you get a twist on the head, it really comes to life. It'd be fantastic to pair up with that snake arm a little bit later. But if we pop the bangs off, we can get a closer look at the detailing as well. And you know, we've got the full-on sculpting on that tongue. It has a subtle gloss finish to it, so it captures the light beautifully and definitely looks really creepy. And then finally we have that mouth open one, you know, a bit more of a, not really angry look, but you know, laughing, you know, creepy laugh, maniacal laughter or something along those lines. It's definitely really nice, especially with all the detailing. Let's just check that back on so we can get a closer look. So yeah, again, mouth full on open, all the lines and printing it above and around the eyes are lovely, especially with that nice purple colour. But out of all these faces, definitely the tongue poking out one is my favourite. Yeah, please do drop a comment below and let me know which one is your favourite of all of these. Now, one of the great accessories with Orochimaru here is the Kusanagi sword, and again, really lovely detail. We have that little wee teardrop on the hilt, the brown, white, and then the earthy sandy colour all the way up the sword there, and then the nice silver for the blade. So yeah, this is really nice, and it's easy to match up with Orochimaru, and we can just slot it into one of those hands, which has the usual gripping design. We can slot it in like so, and then we can kind of have him there holding the sword ready for battle. So I feel like that tongue sticking out face is going to pair up beautifully with anything you want to do with this figure, and then that sword looks really nice, especially when it matches up with Orochimaru. And we have the nice colours as well. You know, we do have the darker brown, as I mentioned, the earthy grey ones, and that kind of matches in with the nice pastel earthy colours for Orochimaru himself. And then probably my favourite accessory with Orochimaru here is the snake arm, which looks really good. We've got the twin snakes sticking out, again lovely green colour, the nice earthy tones underneath, along with the white fangs in the mouth colouring, and those eyes are beautiful as well, with that real true snake, you know, kind of a yellowy gold eye with that, you know, sharp line for the pupil as well. So it looks really nice. Hopefully it's coming through well on the camera. I do have the correct focus here, but I'll definitely be taking more photos with this later, so definitely keep an eye out for those. You know, again, this one works beautifully with that real snake-like tongue sticking out face as well. And you know, switching this on and off is super easy. It just has a simple peg in there, so we can pop it off, and you can kind of see the inner part of his arm as well. And I believe we can put this onto both arms, so yeah, we can pop off his other one, slot this in as well. So it's definitely extremely versatile. So hopefully this is a little bit more of a closer look at the detailing on the snakes, which is really, really nice. So Orochimaru does come with the folded arms, which is something I don't really like in general, but yeah, this one's quite nice. It has a bit of a unique design, so we can get access to the pegs. We basically pull off the sleeve, and then we can just slot it in like so. So far it seems definitely a bit easier than other figures. So we can just line up the pegs, press it on, and it just should just slot in like so. It's a little bit harder there. Maybe it's worthwhile warming up, but yeah, this should at least give a good idea for how the arms fit on and look. Let me just put the hair on as well to complete the look there. And yeah, overall, I mean, it's pretty nice. I don't have it fully pushed in, as you can see here, but if you warm it up or adjust the pegs in the right direction, you can slot it back in. But at least this will give us a good idea for how it does look. And one thing I really like about this one, the hands are actually floating, so it's not fully pressed down. They are their own individual formed fingers on there, which is really nice. So it does look a little bit more detailed and natural compared to some other figures with the folded arm design. So the other great accessory that comes with this release is of course the face set for Sasuke, and this is looking really good. You can see the cursor wrapping all the way around his face there, with that one eye which is being corrupted by the cursor powers. Now for this face here, it does seem like everything is fully attached, so we can't switch the face base on and off or anything like that, so it is its own individual head from what I can see so far. But yeah, the detailing is really nice, and we do have that kind of a cocky smirk which Sasuke gets since he thinks he's also powerful at this point. So yeah, but yeah, this is definitely a nice little bonus to get with the release. Okay, so we've got a bit of a size comparison here. We've got the original Naruto release from the revival line, the Kid Naruto, as well as Sasuke with that curse-sealed head, and then Orochimaru here in the middle. I feel like overall these are looking pretty good all together, lined up like this, and definitely looking really cool. So while obviously Naruto here, yeah, maybe not the best size comparison with Orochimaru, I feel like maybe the kid one's a little bit big, but I feel like if you consider the kid ones in their own little bit world, I feel like then the teen Naruto here is looking pretty good with Orochimaru, and then I think when you put Orochimaru and Jiraiya together, these are looking actually really cool, and it really makes me want a Tsunade release. So hopefully she comes next year, and that would definitely really tie in these three figures together. And then hopefully we'll get a Kid Sakura as well to finish off the kid lineup as well. Okay, so this does bring us to the pros and cons as Orochimaru here swings around on a turntable. Check out that kusanagi, check out those snake arms, the colouring on him, everything that looks amazing, and when it does move around you'll see that tongue sticking out face. It just complements all the accessories on this release so well, especially when you combine it with the Kid Sasuke head, and then you know we can match up obviously Orochimaru with Kid Naruto, Jiraiya, even the older Naruto as well. So the versatility with this release is awesome. You know, for the pros, the accessories I mentioned, the sword, the snake, all the faceplates, the bonus Sasuke head is great, and then the finish is really nice as well. I love the colouring and all the stylistic choices there are really nice. I mean the legs and you know it is base plastic, but it does obviously tie into the other lines. I can imagine a event exclusive version of Orochimaru here would be amazing. Maybe that kind of metallic-y sheen to the snakes like the STCC Shinron, something along those lines would be great. Weathering on the legs, yeah, I'm really looking forward to well down the line when we may get an exclusive of this release, because even just the base one is beautiful and I can just imagine it being elevated that much higher. Now the articulation is great, the legs really good, midsection pretty nice, sometimes a little bit limited, but it definitely doesn't feel like you're lacking anything when you're trying to pose them. The head as well, the tilt action is really nice, especially as we saw earlier. You can definitely tilt it all the way around, which is great. Being able to pivot the hair back is good too. Though, a little bit of a downside here, a little bit of a limited back and forward motion for the head. The front bangs does come off a little bit easier compared to other figures, so depending on the pose you may need to move it and kind of push it in a little bit more. It isn't too much of an issue, but it does depend on the pose you are going for. It's a very small con, just with finish. I can really imagine this being elevated that much higher with a little bit more weathering, but not many figures come with it these days, so it's not a huge con on them, but just a little bit of one. The center ab articulation is nice, but the upper arm part here is good, but I could do it a little bit more. I think it would be really nice. Something like the original Naruto one here had so much articulation in the upper arms, whereas Orochimaru here is a little bit more similar to that of Kid Naruto. Actually, one bit of a pro is the arms. The new design for slotting this on is actually quite nice, and it's not as hard as other figures, which is great. I'm still not a huge fan of folded arms, but on some characters it does look really good, though I can't see myself really using it for Orochimaru here. I would have much preferred maybe get the scroll from the Chunin exam to pair well with Sasuke and Naruto. But yeah, that's it. This release is fantastic overall. I really want Tsunade now to finish off this in line, but definitely drop a comment below what you think about this release, about the Naruto lineup so far, and who you want to see next. And yeah, also please do like and subscribe and all that stuff for future videos, and if there's anything you want to see from this video that I might not have covered in this video, please do let me know, and I will be getting around to taking some photos and checking out on Instagram and so forth later. So yeah, again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, cheers!